Hello, Colts Nation, and what is up, No Horse and Family? Welcome back to another live stream family time edition of the No Horsing Around podcast. And as always, you guys, we're brought to you by our amazing sponsor, Wager Wire, one of a kind, revolutionary. You've heard us talk about it. Sports betting app. The app itself will be coming soon, and hopefully the next 6 months or so, somewhere around there. You can get in and out of parlays. You can get in and out of future bets. You can compare your lines. It's an amazing thing. Make sure you guys go check it out. So, I'm kind of excited. So tonight we are going to do a little bit differently with you guys, right? So it's just me tonight, and I want to open the doors for y'all. Okay, we got things we can talk about. We got lots of stuff. We are 2 weeks out from the NFL draft, from the Colts selecting whoever it's going to be. It's going to be the next face of the franchise, all of that. Colton already dropping in. New report says Texans may not go quarterback at number 2. It's going to be one of the most unpredictable drafts in recent memory. Absolutely, you are right. So I want to open it up for you guys. We got the super chat feature going. You guys drop your questions. You want to drop a little coin in there too. That's amazing. We appreciate that as well. And we're just going to roll through some of this stuff. But let's kind of start with what Colton has brought up, right? And how does this affect the Colts, right? You've got a new report coming out. You got Schefter coming out today, right? Saying that it is a waste of time that Bryce Young was going to his visit with the Texans because he's going number 1 to the Panthers, right? To say that on live TV kind of blew my mind, that he'd be like, oh, no, it's a complete waste of time. And that C.J. Stroud is going next Tuesday to meet with the Panthers to try to change their mind. How does all this affect? How does it all roll in to what Colton's talking about right here about the Texans being reported they may not go at 2? Well, here's an important thing to remember, right? The Texans have 2 picks in the first round. They have it at 2 and they have it at 12. So there's been the idea that who they want isn't there, who their number 1 option is, which I think everyone has felt that it's going to be Bryce Young. Tea leaves, everything has kind of led us all to believe that their number 1 option is Bryce Young. If he's gone, do they just go their next favorite player, which a lot of people presume that that's Will Anderson, right? Now, a lot of people are going to say, why wouldn't they just take C.J. Stroud, right? So it's coming out more and more. We've talked about it off air. Me and Zach have talked about it. I think we've brought it up before. We've heard it more and more now. The news about the fact that C.J. Stroud's representation is the same representation as Deshaun Watson's, right? How does that affect it? Well, what we've heard is the idea that the Texans don't really want to do business with him because of what happened with Deshaun Watson. And a lot of people are like, man, that's not good business for the agent. Why would you do these things? Because the other report supposedly, on the hush-hush was C.J. Stroud let them know, hey, I don't want to come play for you. I don't want to be a Texan. Well, why would the agent do these things? I think someone pulled it up. I was listening. I think it was Kevin Bowen and Jake Query had mentioned it on their show, and they looked it up live on air. He has no players on the Texans. None. Which I think is super interesting because what does he have to lose with that? So why would the Texans pass up a quarterback at number 2? Maybe they feel at 12 they got a little bit more ammo. They got a couple ones next year. Could they come back up and maybe get a falling Anthony Richardson, a falling Will Levis, a Hendon Hooker? Or maybe they don't go at all and they roll with Davis Mills and they go for next year. There's a lot of different things to this that's interesting. So let's go through. I wanted to say, like I said in the beginning, this is a lot of what you guys are having to say. Angie Norm, good evening, Colts Nation. Thank you for jumping in. Angie, again, a couple weeks before NFL draft, what are your top priorities to reform the offense and defense? We'll get to that. Our favorite, Sarah, shout out. I'm ready for the NFL draft already. And Basil's already in here, so this is going to be fun, you guys. I really doubt the agent has anything to do with anything other than clickbait. I'm going to disagree with you, Basil, only because it is clickbait, but the agent has everything to do with where the client goes a little bit, right? If he is telling them because CJ Stroud doesn't want to go. Now, some of this is conjecture, some of it is conspiracy, all of that. But to say that he has anything doesn't have anything to do with it, I think would be a fallacy. Like it wouldn't be true necessarily. I think he has a lot to do with it. He knows a lot of the inner workings of the Texans, and he's probably talked a little bit. And if we go back to the combine, CJ Stroud, said he looks up to Deshaun Watson and he kind of modeled his game after him. So, all right, so let's bounce back up here to Angie's question. Top priorities to reform the offense and defense. Playmakers. Well, the number one priority is you got to leave the first round with a quarterback, right? Like you got to leave the first round with a quarterback. I just don't see them not taking one. Like I can't picture it. And I know that we'll get into this later. Like we'll get into the topic of the quarterbacks later. But the idea that they wouldn't take one blows my mind. And a lot of people, let's just go ahead and get into some of this. A lot of people are going to say, well, why would you take the fourth best quarterback if they stay at 4? The third best quarterback if you move to 3? Nobody knows how they have their quarterback board. Nobody knows. One of these guys could be higher up on their board than anybody else. We've heard a lot of rumblings of Will Levis, that he's higher on their board than a lot of people. You hear a lot of rumblings that they really like. Obviously, we hear a lot about Anthony Richardson. Maybe they don't have some of these guys rated as highly as we do. So maybe they're getting like their number 2 quarterback off the board, and we think that they're getting the number 4. It all depends. It all varies. Sarah chimes in. I'm hoping we get one of the top 4 quarterbacks. I don't care which one at this point. Just get a rookie already. Amen. I think I did a Twitter poll a couple days ago, and I asked what was everybody kind of tired of talking about the quarterbacks in the draft. And it was interesting. It was interesting to kind of see the replies. I'm pulling it up right now because I want to say, okay, so are you over discussing the quarterbacks? 74% said yes, and I think that's the case. It's gotten this weird turn with the quarterbacks themselves, is that, so I've stood on this hill. Y'all know I like Will Levis. I'd take him. I'm okay with Anthony Richardson. I'm okay. I really like CJ Stroud, but I'm okay with Richardson. But because I like one doesn't mean I hate the other. And that's kind of the standpoint that's come across lately with the quarterbacks. If I like Will Levis, it's because I hate Anthony Richardson. Or if I say something bad about Anthony Richardson, then I'm not saying something good about Will Levis. It's nauseating. It is. And I think a lot of us are ready to talk about something else and actually talk about whatever quarterback we draft. Kermit Prods. In the second round, do you think we try to replace number 91 with Mace Smith from Michigan with over 10 sacks and around 40 tackles? I don't think so. Replacing number 91, I'm going to assume you're talking about Unique, and everyone knows I love Unique. I don't think they look to replace an edge that early. I think you're looking at round 2 being more of probably like a corner. I think that's really high up on the list. I mean, in all honesty, I think wide receiver is still going to be up there too, depending on who's sitting there in the second round. I think it's a little early for them to be looking probably to take an edge. But thanks for the question, man. I appreciate it. Angie, when does an athlete become free agent? Would free agent be ranked higher up of trade more than a new draft? Angie, you're going to probably have to clarify just a little bit for me, but I'll come back to it. John, I agree, man. I'm just ready for our guy. I'm just ready to, whoever it's going to be, for it to be. Larry, I've heard that CJ Stroud has the same agent as Deshaun Watson for a while, but saying Houston will take Will Anderson, Colts get their guy, and CJ Stroud. Hey, I mean, it's entirely likely. Now, you're going to have to go up to 3. If the feeding frenzy that will ensue, if Bryce goes 1 and Will Anderson goes 2, and the Cardinals are open for business, and you have 3 of the quarterbacks, one of which is CJ Stroud, sitting there at 3. I actually think it's entirely likely the Colts get jumped at that point because I just don't think they're moving up. I just don't. I think they're staying at 4. I think some team will offer a lot to get up there. I think to hit CJ Stroud. I would love to get him, but I think someone's going to offer more than the Colts want to do. Basel, the agent cannot stop a draft choice or money. It's going to be fully guaranteed based on the position of the agent. Really would not be a big obstacle until year 5. Yeah, I'm going to move on, Basel. We're going to talk about something else. We'll agree to disagree like we do every week. Basel, I will say, hey, man, hey, thanks. You agree with me. Corner is definitely a higher priority in round 2. Sarah agrees too. I love it. I love when we all agree sometimes. There, Andre Carter from Army, D-end, and 3rd. Jules Brent, cornerback, 2nd round for the Colts. I don't mind any of those. I don't. I still think the 3rd is probably a little high for a D-end. I still think it's a little high because you do have Quiddy. I mean, it is Ballard. Ballard invests in the lines. He loves the lines. So I could see that happening. I mean, but I don't think. The real draft for Indy starts on day 2. Why? I mean, I'm not going to disagree. The biggest pick is day 1, right? I mean, the biggest pick Ballard will ever make is 2 weeks from today, right? It's the biggest pick he'll make. And from what we can gather, it's between 2 people. And it doesn't matter a damn what I think. It doesn't matter a damn what anybody in here thinks when it comes to it, right? It's who does Ballard think? Who does Steichen think that they can mold? And what do they see? So I mean, it's the biggest. I mean, if you swing and you miss, you're fired, right? If you get it wrong, everybody talks about that you didn't pick this dude, right? So if you pick Will Levis and Anthony Richardson turns out to be Michael Vick having a baby with Lamar Jackson and Cam Newton, and you've missed that, everyone talks about it. Everyone talks about the Bears trading up for Mitchell Trubisky and not, and missing out on, Mahomes. And everyone talks about everyone who's missed out on Mahomes or missed out on Deshaun Watson or Jalen Hurts, right? So it's a very, very large draft for him, for the organization. And at the same time, you guys, like, it's fun. Like, as a fan, I know we're at each other's throats sometimes with this. Dude, it's a fun time to be a Colts fan. It's exciting. It's a new era. A new era of Colts football is going to be starting in 2 weeks. You're going to know who your young quarterback is. Who are they going to build around? It's exciting. Let's go through some more of these comments. Sarah, edge in the 5th or 6th would be ideal. Agree. Carter in the 3rd is too high for me. I think he's overrated by the Colts fans because of Mathis statements. That's from Basel. I mean, anybody who knows anybody who is a Colts fan, yeah, Mathis carries weight. But it depends too. Like, Peyton Manning's opinion used to carry a lot of weight. If you look closely, Peyton really likes Will Levis. Nobody really cares what he has to say on that. And Peyton vouching for Adam Gase back in the day really hurt him. Let's see. Angie, explain my question. Okay, say an athlete had been with existing team 5 to 10 years. Does he become a free agent after 10 years? And new team talk with age, athlete, or in non-management. Okay, so I'll break it. So this sounds like you're kind of new to this, so I don't mind at all. Free agent is you have a couple different ways. Players drafted most of the time in the first round. Everybody, it's about a 4-year contract with a 5th-year option in the first round. So after 3 years, they can decide whether they want to exercise the 5th-year option. So they're under team control for 5 years. First round picks are second, third, such on. They do not. They have 4-year contracts. So like a Jonathan Taylor, he's been in the league now for 3 years, right? He's coming up on his last year. That's why they're talking about trying to rework his contract. They can rework a new contract within that time frame as they get closer at any point that they want to. You're always going to be dealing with management. You're not really always talking to the athlete directly, unless you're Lamar Jackson. You don't have an agent. So hopefully that helped a little bit, man. That's effing wild. I love that name. If you have not subscribed or joined this family, please, God, do so. I want to see more of that name on our live streams. I like interior O-line in the round 3, namely a right guard. I don't hate it. Tyrell, Will Levis. You can come join me, man. You can come join that hill with me. We might die on it together. Ayo, thank you for stopping by. I'm more intrigued on who will pick, but at this point, LOL, I trust Ballard 100%. That's saying a lot. For those who know my co-host Zach, he does not like. He has his druthers, I think is the right word, with Chris Ballard. I'm going to trust him to make the right pick because I think that it's going to come down to. I think he's going to lean really heavily on Steichen, and that as you guys know, I live in Tennessee, so I've heard a lot of this lately. And a question that a lot of people got was, where should Anthony Richardson go? And a lot of people have pointed to the Colts because of Steichen. And a local radio host here in Tennessee. So where did this quarterback whisperer persona come from? And the other host quickly addressed it. It was kind of funny because, Phillip Rivers, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. He helped develop 2 young quarterbacks. That's where that comes from. So, I trust him to make it. That's effing wild. I like Fries, but not a full-time starter. Basel, Ballard like to double up position picks this year. It's going to be corner. I can see that. He does like to double up. He's taken 2 tight ends before. He's taken 2 D linemen before. He does like to double up on a position. I could see that, especially considering the depth. Like, there's not a lot of depth for us right there. There still could sign somebody. I think a lot of people still talk about Rock. He's still out there. But as of now, you could use something. So I could see it. One earlier, one a little later. That's not a bad take, man. I think Shane would be a better judge than GM. GM equal with fired Frank, entirely responsible for our losing record. Yeah, we'll see. Ayo. There's plenty of decent DNs on day 2. 3, the absence of Yannick will be felt if we don't fill that hole. You're talking to the right person here. Y'all know I love Unique. Unique Yannick. I think I called him Yannick all season. Does he get garbage sacks? Yes. Does he get cleanup sacks? Yes. Did he leave some to be desired? Yes. But it is a hole, and you're banking on another step from Quiddy. Another step from Dio. You're banking on people taking steps, and that's the ultimate question: is do they? I would be stunned if they didn't draft a D end. The funny thing is, me and Zach have talked about this before too, and I actually think there's a decent possibility we see Ballard go heavier outside of a corner, right? I think we see Ballard go much heavier on the offensive side of the ball than the defensive side of the ball during this draft. I think it's an entirely decent possibility. Oh, that's Sarah raises a great point. I don't think so, AO. We do have, I practiced his name, Ibukam. Sorry, Ibukam. He is good too. That's definitely a big pickup. That is true. Basel talking about my Kamaha. True. I bout into Gase because of it. I hate that Manning guy because of it. Made me look like an idiot. I bought into Gase. Okay, I get it. Angie, yes, it does. Thank you, sir. No problem. Anytime. If you got questions, I don't mind. Buddy, the best place for Richardson to go is Florida. He's not NFL ready. Okay, let's boop, and let's talk about this. Let's talk about this section right here, right? So the talk about Anthony Richardson not being ready. You're preaching to the choir. Y'all know, and Basel knows because he likes to poke and prod me. I've stuck to my guns a little bit on I'm not a huge fan of Anthony Richardson, right? Y'all have heard me repeatedly on this show talk about the fact that I watched every down of the Florida State game. And I struggle with the idea that a franchise quarterback who can't make and complete a throw for a quarter and a half. And I get that there's a lot of drops. I do. I get that. but it's still an issue. Like at a certain point, the play on the field has to match the hype off the field, and it didn't this year, right? So I have my concerns. If they take him, I'm going to trust that they can develop him. I'm of the camp I think he plays right away. Um, he needs experience, and the only way you get experience is by playing. I think that they would do something similar to what they did with Jalen Hurts. You let him use his legs till he's more comfortable with throwing the ball. But to say, I mean, he's making the, I mean, obviously, whether he pans out or not, right? Right, Basil? He's made the right decision to come out because he's going to be a top 5, top 10 pick at the least. It's a generation, like you just look the change it's making for his family. It's generational wealth, right? It's changing his life and his family's life, his future kids' lives. He's absolutely made the right decision coming out. The wrong decision would be if he came out and he graded out and he ended up being like a 7th-round pick. The dude made the right decision. It's better to be developed by NFL head coaches than that staff at Florida that looked like they couldn't find their shoelaces when they were staring at the tops of their shoes. So that's my little thing. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about him tonight. My man Zach chiming in. What's up, buddy? I got you. Larry Brown, but I think Chris Ballard will go lineman or wide receiver. Dewan Jones, right tackle out of Ohio State. Zay Flowers, wide receiver. Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver. Just a couple of names of players. I love Zay Flowers. I don't think Zay may not get out of the first round. Mingo's one that we've heard a lot being mocked to the Colts. I like that one too. So I mean, that's one part. But I mean, I love Zay. I just don't think he's going to get out of the first round. That's effing wild. Oh, you know who I am. Don't reveal my identity, though. Okay, let's see. Basel, I'm good with Yannick being like, go. We need to see what Pay and Dio can do. Sometimes you have to give your guys the opportunity to succeed. I agree with that. We've seen him try it before, though. We've seen him kind of force that hand by not signing players and see what they can do, and it's blown up in the face. Hopefully it doesn't this time. Let's see. AO. I just hope Dio isn't Ben Bandicoot 2.0 with injuries and lack of production. I don't think he is. I don't know what. I mean, Dio showed a lot. So, I mean, I think he's already shown more than Bandicoot did. Mike Mama, there, bring back Andrew Luck. Unboxing Mania, thank you so much. If you guys notice the blue comment or the green, if y'all want to, like I said, drop a little coin, hit me up, hit the super chat, drop in your question. I'll get to it right away. Do you think the Colts will pass on quarterback in the first round, hoping we get one of the top 4? I absolutely, positively would be stunned if they did. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine. I've said all along, I don't think this is really like the case, but I've said all along, I think the word mandate may be strong, but I think that it has been strongly informed that you will be taking a quarterback in the first round. And I actually truly believe they think all 4 are very on par with each other. I do. I think that if they wanted one of them specifically, they would move up. I think they don't view this big gap. I think I would be stunned. And when we talk about will they get jumped at 3 to get to the quarterback for someone else to come in, I want to point out one historical reference, right? Is you do hear this making the circles now. Quarterback has never gone 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is not a generational class where like you're going to have all 4 of these guys be studs. Let's be honest. 1, maybe 2 are going to turn out to be good quarterbacks in the NFL. Who those are, we don't know. You hope it's who the Colts are picking. But there's a reason why quarterback doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? The demand is there, but is the talent there? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if the Colts are going to have their pick, of Richardson, Levis, or Stroud, like we talked about earlier. It's going to be really interesting. Unboxing Mania, I don't foresee a world where Ballard doesn't pick the quarterback on the top. Because, like he said too, you had to work hard, man. It sucked when you got that top 4 pick, and you don't plan to be there again. So you better take somebody. Boswell, he's making the correct decision based on his paycheck, but that'll be in question too if he flames out after his rookie deal. Contract number 2 is where the money is. That's true. It's true. But also, like I said at the very end of that too, when we're talking about Richardson, is it's better to be developed by an NFL system than sit down there where it did not look like Florida knew what they were doing on the offensive side of the ball. So I think it's better to go there, get the investment. You are no longer, I mean, you can say what you want, but you are no longer a student athlete. You're a professional football player who that's your job. So let's see. Angie, I see Deshaun Bengal to be traded to the Colts. Don't remember his exact name. He's Bengal, who's recovering from the heart attack. Okay, I'm not sure who you're talking about, Angie. I'm sorry. AO, Steven, any late round gems you like or love? Oh, late rounders. I mean, there are some players that I like that are definitely. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna say this. I think there's a decent chance. We talked about earlier about Ballard likes to double up. I think there's a decent chance that the Colts double up on quarterback. Now, I'm not saying like 1 and 3, right? You're going to take one in the first round. I see one, you may take one in the 4th or 5th. I like DTR from UCLA. And I like, man, why did his name just completely leave me? The BYU quarterback, who are developmental guys. I like those ones. I don't know what else to tell. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to come back because I'm trying to think. Larry Brown, do you see Mingo being little like Debo Samuel, 49ers wide receiver, in the same size and maybe used the same way? Man, I'm going to be honest, that would be great, but I don't think anybody's Debo. I just don't. I don't think anybody's going to be similar to Debo. Debo's just a different kind of dude, man. But maybe. Basel, the people that say 4th pick equals 4th best drive me nuts. It's such a relief that you are not one of those people. Well, thank you. I've tried to stay pretty steady throughout the whole thing. But, yeah, I mean, no one knows whose board is what. Like, nobody knows whose board is what. They may not. Bryce Young could be 4 on their board because of his size. We know people who have taken Jalen Carter completely off their board. So, I mean, it varies. It varies according to what you're looking for. Really quickly, Larry Brown, Jaron Hall. Thank you, Larry. I couldn't think of it. It was escaping me. Angie, does Ballard know his job on the line considering his losing seasons with Frank? I think he knows his seat is hot. But I don't think listen, barring an epic disaster of a season, I don't think he's getting fired. I think he's getting at least 2 years. You don't let him go out and run that search for the coach and come up with Shane Steichen. You don't let him, essentially, he's going to pick this quarterback with Steichen and then fire him at the end of the year. Like, you just don't do that. Joe, I wouldn't rush AR. Excuse me, guys. I wouldn't rush AR maybe mid-season. I'm hesitant because of what happened to RG3. But here's the thing. RG3 was different. RG3 didn't get hurt because he was rushed. RG3 got hurt because the rumor was he didn't want to run the ball no more. He wanted to be a pocket quarterback. Now, we've heard both 2 different sides, right? Like, you've heard RG3 say they wanted him to do that. You've heard the other side saying he didn't want to run anymore. He didn't want to run that offense anymore. And he got hurt really kind of in that pocket area more. And his was a freak accident. Like, that's not development. That's just a freak accident, an injury, really. I mean, if you could have, if I told you that Anthony Richardson came in and he ran the ball and he played like Robert Griffin, like RG3, his rookie season. Oh my God, would you take it? The idea behind that is because you're able to run, right? And I'm going to echo this with Will Levis because Will Levis can run. I don't want to hear that he can't. There are reasons why he didn't in 2022, and there are reasons why he did in 2021. So I tell everyone to go back and watch the 2021 tape too to see what his ceiling can be. Um, but if Anthony Richardson's running around or Will Levis is running around, the idea behind that is it makes the windows bigger. It makes it easier to design passing plays. You do that till they catch up with their processing and their ability to read the field and read the coverages and make the correct passes. And then you hope you develop out of not running the ball every play a la Lamar Jackson. You want it to be or even Josh Allen right now. Like you want it to develop out of that to where they use their legs, but not as their primary means of success. Clayton Tune, I don't know. I'll tell you one that we don't like. I don't like Aiden O'Connell very much, and I don't like. Oh, I spaced on his name again. The quarterback from Stanford. Zach hates him too. If I watch the show long enough, you guys know Zach can't stand him. Thad Raspberry, do you think we could trade up? Because I don't think so. I am 100% in agreement with you. They have told you, they have shown you. Everyone was like, they got to go to 1. Never. Didn't happen. They got to go to 3. Not happening. Like they've told you. Ballard has said repeatedly, we feel really good about 4. What if we can get the best player in the draft at 4? Like he's made it very clear. Like they're not moving up. I would be stunned if they moved up. I'm in complete agreement with you, man. Angie, this is Basel respond to you. I don't think his seat is as hot as Colts fans like to suggest. Irsay has preempted his plan. Excuse me, you guys. My wife finally got back from Korea, and so I am finally getting a little bit more rest. Preempted his plans the last couple of years. Irsay has given him grace for a while. The fans have not. Yeah, I mean it's true. Angie, explain my question was, DeMar. You're talking about DeMar Hamlin. I don't think he's been cleared to play yet, and he's definitely in Buffalo. How about MPJ? Do you think he's going to take the next step with a new quarterback? I think he's going to take a next step only because the consistency at quarterback, right? Like he's had no consistency, none. And we can say what we want, but his best year was probably with Carson Wentz because Carson Wentz could throw the deep ball to him. I think if you have consistency at quarterback, all the receivers will improve. MPJ will look better. Alec Pierce will take that next jump. I think Jelani Woods is the big one to watch next year. So, I mean, yeah, I think they all make a jump when you get a new quarterback and it's consistent because they've all come out and said it too. Like changing quarterbacks every year is hard. You're starting over from ground zero every year. Basel also likes Tune, maybe in the 5th. Thad, do you think Richardson could start day 1? So I've talked about this briefly. I think he needs to. Dude's played 13 games. The only way you get experience is by actually getting experience. He needs to learn how to play, right? Like he needs to learn what he's supposed to do, and you don't learn that on a practice field, and you don't learn that in practice. You don't learn that in training camp or preseason. You learn that by playing. So get him ready. And it's this way with Levis for me too. They both should be playing. So RG3 is on the list of what ifs. Yes, absolutely. RG3 was really good, y'all. Like let's not forget RG3 won Rookie of the Year over our boy Andrew Luck. So yes, very big what if. Basel paying $5 million a year for Richardson to sit on the bench and using up one of his years under contract sounds silly to me. If you don't think he's ready, don't draft him. I'm not gonna say if you don't think he's ready, don't draft him. But we're on the same mind frame. You know, I think the idea that you're going to draft a guy 4th overall when you don't have a quarterback to sit him behind, really, and sit him. I don't see that. I think, and the biggest thing for him is experience. And the only way to gain experience is by playing. Like it's, I can't say it clear enough. A reminder: Patrick Mahomes was the second quarterback picked at number 10 after Mitch Trubisky. Hey, Deshaun Watson was picked, wasn't the first quarterback picked. Josh Allen wasn't the first quarterback picked. Jalen Hurts wasn't the first quarterback picked. Everybody's board is different. Do your research and trust your scouts, right? Larry, thank you. Tanner McKee at Stanford. I don't mind him either. Yeah, I already said I don't like him. I don't know. Let's see. Let's keep going. Angie, would RG3 or Russell Wilson be considered free agent? They've been in my top 3 QB and my star. So Russell will no, neither one. And y'all do not beat up on Angie. She's got legitimate questions. It sounds like she's a new fan to the NFL and trying to understand the rules. RG3 is under contract with, or RG3 is retired. Maybe he's on NFL countdown. So I mean, he would technically be a free agent probably. Russell Wilson is under contract with the Denver Broncos. Yeah, and Basil's answering the question too. That's effing wild. My unofficial rule in the draft is that if you take a guy in the top 10, he clearly has to start. I mean, gone are the days. Here's the thing, you guys. Gone are the days of like Carson Palmer, who sits for an entire season behind John Kitna. And I know a lot of people might chime in here and start barking at me and talking about Patrick Mahomes set for his entire rookie season. They had Alex Smith. They had gone to the playoffs the year before. They went to the playoffs with Alex Smith. There was no need, and you picked him at 10. So, I mean, and let's go to Deshaun Watson. I know it's a dirty name, but Deshaun Watson, they didn't start him. And people were like beating down the gates for Bill O'Brien going, what are you doing? He was starting like Tom Savage and all these random quarterbacks over Deshaun Watson, right? Even Lamar Jackson got in. I mean, he did get in eventually, but he had Joe Flacco in front of him who had won a Super Bowl, right? So, I mean, it varies case by case, but at the same time, when a guy needs experience, like I said earlier, the only way you get that experience is by playing. Let's keep going here. Yeah, I know that's a historic class, though. The Marino was the 6th quarterback picked. There were questions a little bit about some of his extracurriculars, apparently, but that's a historic draft right there. That was a lot of quarterbacks in that one. My daughter saying hi, sweetheart, love you. Joe Mapes, does the opponent oh wait, let me pop it up. Sorry about that. Does the opponent play into when a rookie quarterback starts? Bad team, bad defense. No usual answer is when he's ready. You might target like a soft opening with it. Like, it might be nice to you start Gardner Minshew for the first, let's say our bye week is in like week 6. Starting for the first 5 games, they're not looking great. Give the bye week plus the additional week for your quarterback to come in. You might do something like that. But as far as like targeting, I mean, the thing too is it's hard to target pre because you never know who's going to be good and who's going to be bad. Everyone thought the Colts were going to win the division and be a playoff contender, and we were horrendous last year. That's effing wild. Thank you. Put some respect on Alex Smith's name. He was a good QB, not a star, obviously, but not a scrub either. Yeah. Please direct everyone that wants him to sit towards Jordan Love. Yeah, and even with Jordan Love, still a different situation though. Jordan Love was sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. At least the first 2 seasons, he said Aaron Rodgers was the MVP. So I mean, that's a different situation too. And the Packers do things differently. They draft the replacement before they ever need it. Thad, do you think if for some crazy reason Ballard doesn't take quarterback, Irsay would fire him? No, but there would be like those dagger eyes. Anybody who's ever watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit, those dagger eyes coming out. That's what it would look like in the war room, I'm sure. The same inexperienced speech given for Richardson could have been or could be given for Sam Ellinger. No. Ayo, I love you, man. But there's a reason someone's picked in like the 5th or 6th round. There's a reason someone's picked in the top 10. They're different players. And the inexperienced speech for Richardson goes more for he's played 13 games. He started 13 games this past season. That's it. I believe Ellinger was like a 2 or 3 year starter at Texas. Basel cough. Tom Brady is only good because he sat behind Bledsoe. You're just trying, man. You're just trying to make people upset. Dave, I'm just ready for the draft to happen so I know who will be pulling for. I mean, can we all agree? Like, we can all agree at this point that whoever they draft, whether it's Richardson or Levis, you're not going to root for them to not be good. It might not be who you wanted, but guess what? You're not one of the scouts. You're not the GM. Like, it wasn't our decision. So you're just going to root for it, right? My daughter, thanks, Dad. Love you too. Let's see. Malik Willis has been sitting behind Tannehill. He looks terrible. That's effing wild. That's true. I mean, Malik. So everyone knows I live in Tennessee, right? So I hear a lot of this. Malik was and he was a 3rd round pick. Let's remember that. Malik was, from what we can gather, a several year project, right? For the Titans. He should have never seen the field. They made him the backup. Tannehill got hurt and he was forced in, and he looked horrible. Horrible. He was nowhere near ready. He's smaller, a little slower, not as big an arm, and played at Liberty. So I don't know if he's apples to apples with Anthony Richardson. Larry, Anthony Richardson is better than Sam Ellinger anyways. Basel, you are making it fun. And why do people dislike Levis? If I could tell you that, Thad, I think that's the $1 million question. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's dislike him or just have fallen head over heels in love with the potential of Anthony Richardson. Go back, check out. I did an episode about a week ago about the case for Will Levis for drafting him. And we've talked about a lot of the stuff. I think it was unique today. It got put out. You hear about Anthony Richardson saying that he had a lot of drop passes and people were complaining about how hard he threw the ball. He said it's not his job to catch it. He's going to throw it as hard as he feels, and they need to catch it. And someone said, well, what if Will Levis had said that? You'd be ripped to shreds for that kind of stuff, right? People are ripping him all the time. I don't know. I went on in the episode and I talked a lot. With Levis, there's a lot of talk about, I think it's now just become fun to rip him. I don't understand. I think he's a very talented quarterback. I watched a lot of him because I knew the Colts were looking at him this last year. And I watched a lot of his games this last year. And I always point out, yes, they ended up 7-6. He was 4-0 and ranked 7th in the nation before he got hurt. Just saying. Okay. Let's see. Basel Ellinger played 4 years at Texas. He had 1,900 yards as a freshman. Thank you, Basel. You fact-checked that. Larry Brown, what are you basing that on? And certainly not his college stats. I think y'all are having your own little discussion comparing Ellinger to Anthony Richardson, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Very different athletes, very different players. Man, this has gone really quickly. This is y'all are fired up, man. Let me I'm gonna pose this to the chat that we got going on. Me and Zach, I'm not saying what we're planning, but what would y'all think if we decided we wanted to live stream some of the draft? Just our reaction to the Colts picks, to the Colts first pick. I think that's the big one everyone wants to know, right? Just drop it in the chat. Let me know what you guys think. Angie, thank you for advocating for me anytime. If you're new to the sport, I do not mind explaining, hey, it takes guts to come in here and ask questions and not pretend like you know what you're talking about. Sam Ellinger, this is from Larry, is Just career third string quarterback in the NFL. Maybe backup. Maybe a backup. Ayo, you're down for the you're down for the live stream. Even Basel, you're good, Angie. Learn as much as you can. For those who think Basel's a big bad person, he's not. He just likes to stoke the flame a little bit and try to get us all riled up sometimes. Okay, so I'm gonna go for a little bit longer here, probably about another 5-10 minutes maybe. But I want to go this. I want to see we've been at nauseum with the quarterback and the draft, but let's just put this. We got 2 weeks till the draft. 2 weeks out. Who do y'all want the Colts to draft at 4? Who is it? Is it Richardson? Is it Levis? Is it trade back? Y'all let me know. Drop it into the chat. Hey, what are you basing that on? To Toronto, to the Argonauts of all places. Okay. Oh my goodness gracious, y'all are tripping me out. So as always, as you guys kind of come in here. Oh, here we go with that. I've heard that the Colts have Levis over Richardson. We've heard that. We've also heard that they have Richardson over Levis. It's anybody who claims to know anything doesn't know anything, I think, at this point. Joe Mapes, if AR doesn't pan out at quarterback, put him at wide receiver, part playing, part not. Basel, I love Faulty Towers, great handle. Similar would be a good CFL quarterback. He's got more experience. Okay, so in the end, you guys, when we come on here, I always like to take a minute here at the end, and even though he's not here, I'm going to speak on his behalf too. We love every single one of you guys, man. It's amazing. It's humbling every time we get on here and you guys come on to chat with us. It's humbling every time we turn a video on. We've been doing this through 2 seasons. We went through Carson Wentz. We went through Matt Ryan. Myself, right before Zach, had done it for a half a season before that. And to say that we are dumbfounded with what has transpired with this for the size of this family that continues to grow daily, we're just lucky, man. We're just 2 fans. Like he always says, we are just 2 fans who are lucky enough to have mics in front of us that you guys want to listen to, and we just try to give you guys the best content we can, but try to give you guys stuff that you want to hear, and be honest and straightforward with what we talk about. And we couldn't have done it without you guys. We couldn't get to where we're at without you guys, and we love you guys for it. That being said, if you've not joined this family, if you're in here and you've not joined the No Horsing Around family, hit that subscribe button, man. If you feel the need, you want to, like I said earlier, you want to drop a little coin, help us out, you can become a member. You can do a super chat. You can just donate. Anything like that is great. We love it. It helps us get kind of new, cool things. You've seen some of the guests that we've had on. That's because of you guys too. We've had Derek Schultz. We've had Kevin Bowen. Heck, we had Mike. We had Bob Kravitz at one point, which was amazing, right? James Boyd is a regular on our show, and that's because of you guys. So if you've not joined, join up, man. We would love to kind of give you a big hug and welcome you into the family. So let's run through these here at the end. John Gilbert, Stroud, then AR, then Levis for me. I'd be happy with any of them. Basel, I'm good with anyone but Richardson at 4. I'd prefer Stroud for the QB. Larry Brown is AR. That I think trading back would be a mistake. Massive mistake. Bring Jordan Love here. We need him. John Gilbert, I doubt Stroud or Young dropped to us, though. I think that's true. Fulkerson, thanks. Not many have picked up on. Oh, talking about your name, yeah. Larry Brown, I'm really ready for the NFL draft to be over, though. And Basel, what I would really love is Robinson at 4 just to see the Colts fans scream and cry. The Colts fans would scream and cry if they drafted Will Anderson, too, I think. So, for me, if I'm going off of who I think is actually going to be available, for me, I take Will Levis at 4. But I'm okay with Anthony Richardson. I'm going to ride with whoever is the quarterback for the team going forward. Yeah, I mean, that's what we got for tonight, you guys. I wasn't going to go very long because it's just me, and sometimes it's a little difficult to keep pushing through. Thank you to everybody who's come in. Thank you to everybody for the well wishes for all of us. And As always, you guys, we end these things the same way we always do. I love you. I know Zach loves you. I'm out of here. We'll see you guys next week.